It's starting. All right. Hey there, Vanagon addicts. Hope you guys are getting ready to have a great 4th of July weekend. Sorry I didn't announce our live stream a little bit earlier this week, but I didn't know if I was actually going to do it or not. So that's kind of the reason why. I debated about doing it. I thought, maybe I wouldn't do it this week. And I know a lot of you guys are not going to come on because you are driving your vans, you're on the road, and you're enjoying your 4th of July weekend. So I might not have anybody come on here. Right now it says one person. That's probably my daughter, I imagine, who is trying to help me out and making sure that you guys can get your chats answered. So if you're here, let us know. We want to know if you are visiting with us from another country. That would be great. Or what state you're from. Let us know about that. And also let us know what you're planning on doing this weekend with your Vanagon. Hopefully you're going to be camping out, taking a trip somewhere, doing something fun with your van. You can see I got a little more light on the subject this week. My daughter Leah is here helping me again, and she said, Dad, people might actually want to see your face. There's Leah back there. And so we moved the light so you guys can actually see me now. Okay, so if you have any questions, as always, you can send us to our chat, and we will be glad to try to answer your questions. Also, we love the donations last week. Let me take a look at our donations from last week. We had, I think, just one donation last week. Again, Daniel Peckham sent us $10 via PayPal last week. And so, Daniel, thank you for that. And thank you for supporting us that way. And also, we've had some really nice orders this week, and people saying, keep up the live stream, keep up the Vanagon videos. And so we're definitely trying to do that. Okay, so I appreciate you guys doing that. Appreciate you taking a little time out of your holiday planning stuff to come and say hi to us. Do we have anything on the chat yet?
Just people saying hi.
Just people saying hi. Okay, so
Timothy Provencher and Eddie Carino.
All right. Well, good to have you guys with us, Timothy and Eddie. Glad you're here with us. So what I want to talk about a little bit as we get started this week is what I like to call is unrealistic expectations. I've been talking with some of my other folks out there. These guys that run the Bus Lab out in Berkeley. And there's also another place called San Diego Westy. They do a lot of Vanagon repairs out on the West Coast. And one of the things they like to do with their new owners, potential owners, is talk about what they call unrealistic expectations. Okay, so here's a sample of a phone call I would get. Hey, Ken, I have $5,000 in student loans. I want to buy a Vanagon that I can drive around the country and go 10,000 miles and not have any problems. All right, now who can spot problems with any of that? Okay, so this is what we call unrealistic expectations. Okay, number one problem we have is our budget. Okay, our budget, when you're buying a van, you do not want to buy a van that is all of the money that you have in the entire universe. Okay, so that's a bad idea. Okay, because now you have all your money tied up in your van. You have maxed out all your credit cards. You maxed out your student loans, apparently. Instead of paying for college, which that's supposed to be for, you're buying a van and getting the worldly knowledge that way. And that's all fine and dandy. But, okay, if you have a problem, now you have nothing. You have a backup plan. You don't have a plan B. So what you need to do is try to get your expectations to line up with reality. I know, a lot of times people, it's their heart is involved, and they want this be on the road. They want to have the van life, and that's fine. I like that. Okay, but you have to have. If you fail to plan, you're going to plan to fail. Okay, so number one, I would say any van that you're going to buy for less than $10,000 at this point is going to need a lot of work. Okay, occasionally you run across these super awesome deals where you have a van that's, you know, a low price and it's been really well taken care of. You have a great service history of it, and for whatever reason the person is just getting rid of it. That's great. Okay, but usually, like buying a van on eBay, usually that's a crapshoot. Is it going to be good most of the time? No. Okay, no, most of the time it's going to be something that somebody felt like they couldn't sell on Craigslist. So that's why they're selling on eBay. So have your expectations, okay? Try to meet with reality. Buy the most van you can buy. And what I mean is, like, you're going to buy a van that's well maintained. You're going to buy a van that has a service history so that you kind of know what you're getting into, okay? And then once you do that, you know, leave yourself enough cushion so if you have an emergency or something on your trip, you can, you know, take care of that. Now, maybe that just means you have enough credit cards to pay for an emergency repair or something like that. That's perfectly fine. And hopefully you won't have to use that, okay? But don't max yourself out before you even get started, okay? So that's one idea on that. Do we have any questions yet?
Just more people saying hi.
More people saying hi? All right, guys. All right, and you know, I'm not trying to just ramble here, but I'm trying to give you guys like some ideas. Okay, so if you don't have like $10,000, $12,000 to buy like a decent van to start with, my advice is to wait. Okay, if it takes you another year, you have to save up more money. That is good. That's fine, because here's the problem: you buy the cheap van for $5,000. The person's trying to sell it, they tell you everything's wonderful, fantastic with it. Then you try to drive it, it breaks down, it needs a motor, it needs a transmission, it needs whatever. And before you know it, you could be $10,000 more into it. The entire time that you want to spend on the road for the summer is gone because you've been been in a shop all summer being worked on. You know, you don't want that. Okay, I don't want that. You don't want that. Okay, so instead, if you should wait. Okay, wait until you have enough money to buy a decent van that's going to be reliable, that has a good service history, that you're buying it from somebody that you feel comfortable buying it from. Try to keep the emotional side out of it as much as possible so that you can buy something nice. And if you have to wait, you were going to wait anyway, because it was going to be broken in a shop and it's going to be sitting there. They're going to have 3 big fat dudes sitting on it, and they're going to say, I got my 3 best guys on it right now, and it's going to just sit there all summer. So you don't want that. Instead, you want to wait until you can buy something nice, and buy something that's going to be reliable for you. All right, that's another thing about buying stuff with your expectations. The second thing we want to talk about is not calling me while I'm having a live stream. Definitely don't do that. Okay. The third thing, if you're not going to, don't call me when we're doing a live stream, because that will get you banned for life. So, if you're watching this, boom, you're banned for life. All right, now. No, you're not. You're not banned for life. You're banned for like right now, though. All right, so the second thing about unrealistic expectations, okay, it is a Vanagon. It is not a Unimog. It is not a Ford panel van or a Chevy panel van. It is not a V8 with, 300 horsepower. It is a Vanagon. If you have a water boxer in it, it's got 95 horsepower max. If you have something else in it, it might have 100 and something horsepower. That's not really that much for a box. And the problem is when people have unrealistic expectations, they say, all right, I'm going to buy this van. I'm going to put a brand new motor in it. I'm going to put a brand new transmission in it. So they're ready to spend the money. They're not cheap people. They got the money to spend. Okay, that's fine. But then they say, now, what I want to do now is I want to put the super heavy bumpers on it. I want to put a refrigerator in it. Besides the refrigerator that's already in, I'm going to put another refrigerator in. I want to have a generator in it. I want to have, I want to have all this stuff, an air conditioner, a window AC unit, plus all my stuff and they got stuff stacked all inside. They have stuff stacked in the back. They have bikes hanging on the back. They have stuff in the luggage rack in the top. And the thing is, the car is overloaded with stuff, okay? And it can't handle it. It can't deal with it. And then when you're driving it in the mountains or something like that, guess what? It's going to tear up. It's going to overheat. It's going to drop a valve. It's going to do something naughty. And you don't want that, okay? So people are into the new, minimize your life, simplify your life situation things. I would encourage you to do that, okay? Don't feel like you got to take everything with you. Try to actually go the opposite way. What can I not take with me? What is the stuff that I can leave behind? Because I want my van to not blow up. I want my van to perform well going down the road. I don't want to overload it. I want it to be happy and enjoy the journey along with me. Okay, so again, it's a 30-year-old car. It was basically like a minivan to start with. It's an underpowered minivan compared to, say, like a Honda Odyssey or something like that. And you just have to kind of know the limitations of it. Okay, don't go into it expecting like, hey, I can strap more stuff on the outside. Okay, I had a customer that had a 71 bus, and I rebuilt an engine for him, and he blew that engine up. I rebuilt it again because I thought maybe there was some problem on my side, and then he came by my shop after he got the second engine he was loaded up for his trip. And I mean, here's the problem. So he pulls in, the whole van is like this. It's all wallering. Okay, there's stuff strapped on the front, there's stuff strapped on the back, there's stuff strapped on the roof, there's stuff all inside, and it was going to be him and his girlfriend, and it was overweight without any human beings in it. It was overweight. And he's like, yeah, I'm driving this all across the country, and I'm going to New Mexico, and California, and all this other stuff. And I'm sitting there going, all right, have fun. And I'm sitting there thinking, it's going to blow up again. So he got out to New Mexico. Guess what happened? Motor blew up again. Okay. And why? Because the car was overloaded. He had like this unrealistic expectation of what it could actually do. Like, as long as you can do something, as far as putting more stuff inside or strapping more stuff on, people think that it will do it. It won't do it. Okay. So I'm not trying to be negative Nelly. I'm just trying to make you think about something. Okay. And if you treat the van right, it's going to treat you right. All right. Do we have any questions?
No, you're going to have to ask them for these questions, man.
Dang, people. What is up with you today? Everybody knows everything about Vanagons. All right. Well, let's talk about something that most people don't know about. They don't know about what the heck. I'm being nice. I'm not saying naughty words. What the heck is this stupid thing right here? Okay. And you can even see my eyes here. Ooh, look at this little mask. All right. This, of course, is the first thing you see when you buy your van is your heater control, right? Now, people call me all the time, Ken, which of these things activates the dash air conditioning? None of them. Okay, so if you thought you had dash air conditioning because of this stuff, you're sadly mistaken. All right, so then they say, all right, well, how does stuff work? All right, so let's go over the stuff. The first thing at the top here, you see this picture. What does that look like? That looks like a defrost emblem, okay? And you have this ramp-looking thing. It says Max over here. They tried to help you out. They actually put words on it. For a long time, they didn't even have any words, okay? So here's what the very top lever does. This is your defroster. You slide it, okay? If you slid it all the way to this side, it's almost turning it off. If you slide it all the way to this side, that's the most defroster that you can get. All right, does that make sense? I hope you're learning some things. Now, second level, okay, let's go down here to level 2. We have a red dot and we have a blue dot. What do you think that means? Okay, the red dot means heat. The blue dot means not heat. Okay, it doesn't mean air conditioning. It just means not heat. So I'm trying to put this somewhere where it's not in my face. Okay, so again, if you want heat, say you want your defroster and you want heat, you would slide the top one all the way over to this side, and you would slide this one all the way to this side. But say it's the summertime and you want defroster, but you don't want heat. You leave this one up here on this side and you slide this one over to the blue side. Okay, now if you slide it to the blue side and you still have heat, that means maybe your heater valve is messed up or your heater valve control cable thing is bent. Okay, but you should, if you slide it over here, it should turn off your heat. All right, now let's continue to the next level, going down to the nitty-gritty, the lower levels of this game. All right, now this next level, we have an emblem of an arrow pointing down. What do you think that means? Anyone? That means that is your floor. Okay, so you have heat that can come out the center registers there at your feet. That's what this is. Okay, so this turns that on and off. And again, you see this ramp. It says max here. If you slide this all the way over, it's going to give you that floor air coming out on the floor on your feet. Okay, if you slide it back this way, it should turn that off. Okay, now sometimes the seals inside the airbox get worn out, and that doesn't work properly, and you'll still get a little air, but that's what that's supposed to do. So again, this is your floor, air or not air. This is your temperature. Okay, so that would be, and you can put it in the middle if you want, some warmth, not full warmth. Okay, and again, you can have this be at either position. These other things don't really affect that. Now, the bottom one, okay, probably the least understood of them all. We have a blue window looking thing. What is that? Okay, well, think about it. Pretend you opened a window, right? What would happen? The outside air would come in. So guess what this bottom one is? This is your outside air vent. Okay, so if you slide it all the way over here, now your outside air is going to come in. All right, so if you slide it all the way over, you're going down the road, you kind of start feeling air is coming in from the outside. As you're driving down the road, you're going to get more of that air coming in from the outside. If you're sitting still, you're not really going to have that much. Okay, and again, this affects, like say in the wintertime, you probably want this to be down this end, which is closed. Okay, that should close off your outside air. And in the wintertime, you don't want it on. You want, to have it on your heat, and you want the outside air to be off. In the summertime, maybe you want the outside air to be on because you don't have air conditioning. But if you do have air conditioning, you still want that to be off. Now, when you slide this, okay, it'll come out your dash vents, of course, but it'll also come out these little overhead vents that are on the side. Like if you sit in the back seat, you'll see these overhead vents that are on like the right side, on the left side of the ceiling. Some people call me, they say, that is your air conditioning, right? And like, no. Okay, that is just actually only this bottom venting. That would come out of those vents in the ceiling. Now, if you have a later model, like say an 87 or newer with the central duct that goes down the center, that is air conditioning. Okay, but you will know if you have that because it's like this big duct. It's about this big, plastic. It's attached to the ceiling. Sometimes it's falling down on your head while you're driving and bonking you in the head. Then you like veer around and careen into everybody. But hopefully that doesn't happen. But that, that's your air conditioning. Okay. Those other side vents in the ceiling are controlled by this bottom one right here. Okay. This is your ventilation from the outside. Okay. So now we go to the most important one over here. This is your fans. Okay, so this is just your different fan speeds. It has a 0, which is off, and then the other ones, 1, 2, 3. And that's what that does. So now if whatever position you have this in, whatever you're trying to tell it to do, and as you can move these back and forth and kind of mix and match. You say, I don't want, full floor. You can put it in the middle. You can, do whatever. But, this is how this works. Okay, so hopefully that answers questions. There are people that have owned Vanagons for years that have no clue what some of these controls actually do. So hopefully that helps you guys out a little bit that way. No questions yet?
Well, does this one person Camp Runamuck, which I feel like they've been here before?
That's Billy Shepard. Yep.
Okay, he said he was talking about he buys stuff at thrift stores when he's traveling, and he can just toss it or give it away after using it. You can buy bikes for $10 and blenders for a couple bucks, and then he says a guy on VOG was selling stickers for the dash panel.
Okay. Oh, okay. To probably tell people what the stuff actually does. I mean, you got to understand. Volkswagen sells these cars to markets that don't have English. Okay, so they'll sell it to France, they'll sell it to, of course, Germany, Spain, whatever. And they don't want to put English all on here because the people might not speak English. I know we speak English and we think everybody does, right? When we go to other countries, you just talk really loud and talk really slow, and then will understand you. But yeah, they don't. Okay, so that's why they kind of use this pictographic language. If you know what it means, then it's no big deal. Okay, so I just wanted to talk to you guys about that because, like I said, and good point, Billy, about buying stuff when you're traveling. Sometimes it makes more sense to buy stuff when you arrive. Okay, like when we flew to Florida one time, we just flew down there on Spirit Airlines, which is the airline equivalent of Satan. And when you got down there, you made a bargain with Satan to get an awesome seat, a cheap seat on a plane. But of course, the devil has to have his due. So that means if you bring a carry-on bag, you're going to pay for that. If you're bringing luggage, you're paying everything. You pay. Breathe in, you pay some money. Breathe out, pay more money. So we just left all our stuff, and we got to Florida. We just bought stuff at Walmart. And then, if you get attached to it, you can always just mail it back. So you can kind of be smart that way. Like Billy says, go to the thrift store, buy some bologna. When you get done with your trip, take it back to the thrift store, put it back in their box, and say, Merry Christmas, poor people. All right. Now, because that's what I always do. No, I don't do that. All right. We have any more comments or questions?
Timothy Provencher says, what do you think about Subaru Swap?
Subaru Swap. Okay, so I have no problem with Subaru Swap. Okay, some people really like it. I actually was talking to some guys today, Delta V Motorworks. I think they're down in Virginia. They're doing a Subaru Swap onto a bus. Okay, so they call that a Busaroo, and which sounds like somebody's mispronouncing Subaru. But anyway, it can be cool. I've driven quite a few of them. The only problem I have with them is the inconsistency of how they're completed and finished. I wish that someone could come up with like a standardized kit for them so that when they were done, felt like they were like all the bugs were worked out, or at least most of the bugs were worked out. Sometimes it feels like an ongoing science project where you're driving it. There's like this rattling noise. What is that? Oh, this heat shield. I had to make it, and then it's hitting this other thing, but don't worry about it. That's the only part that annoys me about it is that side. But they're good motors. They are reliable. You have a little bit more complexity because now you have a timing belt, and that's one of the things I love about the Water Boxer is there is no timing belt, and there's no timing chain, and there's none of that. Okay, so in between your hopefully 200,000 miles of your Water Boxer life, there's no ever changing timing belts or chains. On a Subaru, I think maybe every 60,000 you're supposed to change the timing belt, which isn't that hard. But if you let it break, some of them have interference motors, and they will, you'll mess up the heads and that kind of thing. So, there's always pluses and minuses to everything. Of course, you get a little bit more power, and that's always nice. And a more modern fuel injection system, be a plus.
Do you have anything else to talk about?
Yeah, I got other stuff to talk about. You guys are being all quiet and stuff today. Except for Billy Shepard. All right. All right, I got something that I don't know why, but people haven't been getting too excited about. So I'm excited about it. I bought it, and then it's like sitting on the shelf. So these are coolant pipes for the 2.1. They're made in stainless steel. They're on the website. Been on there for months. Occasionally somebody will buy one. They act like it's no biggie. Here's this other one. These are the two ones that go on the water pump area. They're high-grade stainless, and you should never have to buy it again, ever. Most of the time, when I see them, they're all fuzzy and nasty. I got this part here. This is also on the 2.1. It's like this little coolant nipple deal thing. It's right below the alternator. They love to break, and some of them were actually made out of plastic originally. Okay. This is stainless steel. So, again, it's on the website. If you're redoing your motor, why not buy this stuff? Because I'm telling you, the old steel stuff is rusted. This is a stainless steel, like this little short pipe that goes under the alternator area as well. Again, some of these originally were made out of plastic, and they are pretty much all garbage at this point if you had a plastic one. So here's a stainless steel one. It's not expensive. Why not replace your Garbo pipes with stainless steel pipes? You never have to mess with them again. Here is one for Billy Shepherd. Billy Shepherd. Okay, what this is, I don't know where that came from. This is a stainless steel coolant pipe that goes on a 1.9 only, and it's hard for to see. Okay, here's a full picture of it. Okay, and it's the one that goes like under the alternator, goes you know, from side to side into the thermostat housing. And yeah, usually they look like a fur coat that some lady had in the 20s because people don't like fur coats anymore. But they are fur coat because it's all rusty and falling apart. This is brand new stainless steel. I have one at the moment. And, you know, why not replace Garbo with something good? That's my advice.
Billy was actually talking about get the 1.9 one that goes over the top. Not that one, the one on the top.
Everybody wants something you ain't got. That's the way it works in life. In case you hadn't found that out yet, Billy, that's the way it works. So I will talk about the one on the top. Right now, it is not available new at all from any source in any way, shape, or form that I know of. But I'm sure eventually, you know, just like these pipes got made in stainless, eventually somebody's going to start doing it. And of course, as soon as they start doing it, I'm going to come on here and tell you guys about it. Okay, so that's this stuff here. You got anything else? Billy's smart remarks.
Timothy was agreeing with you on what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I may have showed this a few weeks ago. This is, of course, for the Synchro Vanagon gas tank straps, and we got them in stainless as well. You know, a lot of these parts are actually made in Germany, which I like, and so you know, there's these as well in stainless. Right. So I'm trying to think of anything else. I had some stuff on my list here. Let me go back to my list. Because I have been trying to think about this. I keep asking you guys to come up with ideas for me, and nobody does. They're all like, psych. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, it's the sound of silence. The sound of one hand clapping. That's all we get here at Vanagon with ideas for the thing. All right, so we'll talk about that. I'm talking about I'm running out of stuff to talk about. I still have my parts van. Was actually working on that today, trying to get some air conditioning stuff out. It has a really nice, well, I say nice. It has a decent overhead air conditioning. It is a 91 GL. It has a decent overhead AC, and I say decent because, you know, the tunnel part was fully up there, wasn't sagging or nothing like that. When I took it down, of course, there is some damage on the tunnel. And I'm thinking about maybe making some kind of repair plates or something for the air conditioning tunnel on the late model vans. It's just becoming more and more of a problem. You know, they initially just screwed them up there with Phillips head screws and like big washers. And they all started falling down. And like I said, hitting people in the head and causing accidents, I guess. And so Volkswagen had a recall on it. But their recall was just put metal plates up there to kind of spread out the load. Well, now what's happened, you know, all these years later, 20-something years later, the very top of the tunnel is like this black plastic, and it's starting to crack and crumble away. And I had that girl in Maui camper vans last week. She had her tunnel things fall down, and she took it to a shop out there in Maui, and their idea of fixing it was pieces of wood and duct tape, floral duct tape. Okay, so it has to look, Hawaiian-ish. So they just like florally duct taped it to the ceiling, and that was their GG's method on that. And the problem is, it looks like crap, and she had to rent the car like that. So that was terrible. So what I'm thinking is maybe some kind of support plate, maybe made out of plastic or metal or something, that you can glue or epoxy into the inside of the end of the tunnel, and then it basically reinforces it to the point where it doesn't need to be repaired again. So, I mean, if we had like a metal piece that kind of did like this at the end of the tunnel and made the shape of the end of the tunnel, you have to make a different one for each tunnel piece at the end. And then, once you did that, it should last like pretty much forever after that. So that's something I'm thinking about. If my dad was better, it would be done by now.
Matthew, how do you say his last name?
All right, what do we got here? Matt Fucci. Yep.
Says hi. Also, I really love his icon. It's the Boromir meme.
Okay. Yeah, well, Matt's supposed to be coming here soon. I got to do a little bit of stuff on his van for him, but this week was just a little too cray-cray for that, unfortunately. But hopefully next week. Well, next week's 4th of July, so maybe towards the end of the week. All right, so now I'm going to ask you guys to tell me in the comments what you are doing for 4th of July with your van. Hopefully something awesome. That's what I'm hoping for everybody out there. It's about half past, and maybe I'll just, call it today because, it's the holiday stuff. So I know, like, a lot of people, last week, what's been really great about the live streams, really, I love you guys coming. I love you guys being involved and everything and asking questions. But after it's over, like, by tomorrow, 200 people watch it, So to me, that's cool, and it lets them get involved in that way. I'm trying to think of anything else that's going on right now.
Billy Shepard says, I'm going to put aftermarket air in my van. I have a stock air AC compressor bracket. Should I put that bracket on my new engine? Will the aftermarket AC use the same compressor mount?
Yeah, it can. Most likely, like aftermarket AC, usually you use a Sandin compressor, which is what they used on the Vanagons originally. So, really using that bracket would be perfectly fine. Like when you go to Vintage Air or any of the other aftermarket places, most of the time they're using the Sandin SD508 compressor, which is what they actually used on the Vanagon back in the day. So, yep, keep that bracket. You're good.
He said he's installing the new engine over the weekend.
Yay! That's good news, man. I'm glad. That's a milestone. So, thumbs up. Oh, and two guys, definitely thumbs up the video. It helps with YouTube's things, computer deal things that happens inside its YouTube brain. All right, anything else? Nothing else. All right. So now listen, I'm going to introduce you to my daughter Leah here. She is actually going to start working for me hopefully in a couple weeks. Okay. She has been honing her people skills at a little place called Chick-fil-A. You may have heard of them. That's like a college that apparently churns out super awesome customer service employees. So when you call here, you might be talking to her. Be nice. Don't curse. Don't say dirty jokes. All the stuff you guys normally always do. Don't do any of that. Just be nice to her. And if she sounds like she doesn't know what she's talking about yet, that's fine.
I don't. I know this much about vehicles.
She's just going to fake it a little bit. She drives a 2001 Bug. So, she has a little bit of Volkswagen stuff happening that way. And when she was a baby, she got brought home in a Vanagon. So there you go. So it's in there. It just has to germinate and come out. All right. So I just want to introduce you to her so you kind of know when you call and you're like, what's going on? Like, I'm not actually talking to Ken now. I'm talking to this person. She's 19 years old. She's not 12.
I'm not 12. I may sound like I'm 12 on the phone, but I'm actually 19.
So, just want to let you guys know We're trying to grow. We're trying to expand. And also, I'm supposed to be doing a TV commercial for the shop in a few weeks because we got this new advertising thing we're doing. Blah blah blah. So we're gonna do a TV commercial with an actual real film crew and everything. It's gonna be weird. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh my God!
All right. Any other comments or anything before we take off? Let me get her to look one more time.
No.
No. Okay. All right, guys. Well, wherever you guys are at, whatever you're doing this weekend with your van, I hope you're getting more smiles per gallon with your van, and it's making you happy because that's really what it's all about. Hope you guys take some time, spend some time with your loved ones and people that you care about, and just take good care of yourselves this weekend. Have a great 4th of July, and we're think about our country and the people that sacrifice everything so that we can do what we do, and just kind of take a moment for them as well. All right, guys, peace out and have a great 4th. Bye.